So this TikToker allegedly unalived her own parents and then was trying to get true crime influencers to cover the story. This one's wild. Now the girl's name is Sarah, and Sarah is 16 when this story starts, living in Georgia. And Sarah likes TikTok. I mean, she appears to like making TikToks, like starring herself. And that's fine, we all do. But in Sarah's case, her TikToks are about to become relevant to the crime she's accused of committing. So let's talk about what she's being accused of. Now at some point, Sarah has allegedly decided, for some unknown reason, that she's gonna unalive her own parents. And one night in 2025, she does just that. She waits up late until her mother and her stepdad are asleep. Then she somehow gets a firearm and she sneaks into her parents' bedroom, and then blam, she unalives one of them, and quickly blam, she unalives the other one. Now her stepdad, he has some kind of heart condition, so he wears an LVAD machine, which is like a heart machine. Now this heart machine starts going off and making a lot of noise because it has detected that his heart is no longer beating. Now at this point, Sarah would have had to have somehow gotten rid of her weapon and slipped back into bed. Then, a bit later, Sarah's little sister wakes up. We'll call her 5 because she's 5. So 5 wakes up and she goes into their parents' bedroom, and unfortunately, she finds their parents there unalived. And so she immediately goes and wakes Sarah up. And Sarah pretends not to know what happened, and she calls 911 to report the murder. Now, all of that is alleged, and if it is true, then that is really messed up. I mean, she let her 5-year-old sister discover the parents? And so anyway, police start investigating, trying to figure out who would do such a thing. And about a week later, Sarah starts posting on her TikTok account. And in her post, she's grieving about losing her parents, posts with captions like, "At nighttime when there's nothing to do and the house is empty, I'd always think about how much I needed them. And don't ever take your family for granted." Meanwhile, she goes and gives a eulogy at her parents' funeral.
For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sarah, and I am Kristin Brock's daughter. For James, thank you for all the life lessons you taught me and for being the best bonus dad ever.
Now, if she really did unalive her own parents like they're accusing her of, and she gave a eulogy at their funeral, that is all kinds of insane. Anyway, so of course, as time goes on, she keeps posting pictures of herself on TikTok with grieving captions like, "You're just thinking it's a small thing that happened. I just want my mama. I can't do this without my mom. I still can't comprehend the fact that I'm never gonna get to go home. Her t-shirt," where I guess she's holding her mom's shirt. "What do you mean I can't call my mom? Doesn't feel real, but it still stings. Why me? The world ended when it happened to me." So yeah, you get it. I mean, all of these are really sad. She's posting TikToks of herself crying and stuff, and pictures with captions like, "It hasn't hit me that they're gone yet." It's horrible to think about, and she seems to be wanting sympathy for all this, which would be normal if there weren't this accusation of her committing the murder herself. But here's where it gets kind of weird. Sarah also reaches out to the TikTok creator who runs a true crime account, allegedly reportedly. And the account has around 140,000 followers, so, she's doing pretty well. So Sarah hits her up and asks her to look up the case about her parents and maybe talk about it on her channel, because she claims she wants to raise awareness and find the murderer. So she sends her a message and says, "Kristin and James Brock, they're my parents, and out of nowhere, a random Thursday night in February, someone came to my house with me and my 5-year-old sister and left my parents for me and my 5-year-old sister to wake up to." Then, I guess, allegedly reportedly doesn't respond fast enough, like maybe she didn't see the message. So the next day, Sarah messages her again and pushes for her to cover the story and offering her intel on the crime. She says, "I think it would be a really big hit. The only person who posted about it made it as the first image you see when you Google their names." Girl, what? Okay, victims of crimes write me all the time asking me to cover their story or whatever, and never once has anyone said, "You should cover this, this is gonna be a big hit," or "You should cover this, this will get you to the front page of Google." In my personal experience, victims in an unsolved case like this, they just don't think that way. They usually want justice, not views. Anyways, as the news gets out and more people become aware of Sarah's story, she starts posting more selfie videos on TikTok trying to be cute. And over 4 months have gone by since the murder. And Sarah is 17 years old at this point. And police, they're still investigating, but they haven't announced any suspects. So no one has any clue who did this or where this case is headed. Until police suddenly do something that shocks everyone. They notify Sarah's biological dad that they have a warrant for her arrest. So then Sarah goes and she turns herself in. Here's her mugshot.
The teen daughter is now in custody, charged with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault. She is here at the county jail being held without bond.
Now, we don't know what evidence police have, but they claim that they have a mountain of it against Sarah.
From the very moment the 911 call was received, a relentless investigation began. One that would span months, consume thousands of man-hours, and require the full weight of the local and federal law enforcement agency partnerships.
Meanwhile, the woman who runs the allegedly reportedly account, the true crime account that Sarah hit up, she makes a video and she seems all upset at Sarah for trying to drag her into all this.
Why would you ask me to cover a case where you are going to get arrested for taking your parents' lives? Y'all, this is Sarah Grace, and she messaged me back on June 3rd and just said, search up Brock case. So I said, Brock Turner? Brock who? She said, Kristin and James Brock. They're my parents. And out of nowhere, a random Thursday night in February, someone came in my house with me and my 5-year-old sister and left them for me and my little sister to wake up to. And I said, not knowing she was going to wind up arrested for this, I am so sorry. I cannot imagine. I will absolutely research and cover their case. Please take care of you always. On Tuesday afternoon, Carroll County Sheriff's Office announced that they have arrested 17-year-old Sarah Grace Patrick. The girl that asked me to cover the case has been arrested.
Yeah, I'd be mad too. Like, don't drag me into your bullshit. Now, I don't know if Sarah really did unalive her parents. She hasn't been to trial yet, but she did turn herself in. However, she hasn't admitted guilt or anything like that. So this is all alleged. That being said, police say they are very confident that she is guilty, even though they don't even have a murder weapon as far as we know. They never found whatever gun was used, so we don't know what evidence they have. While Sarah apparently told police that she was asleep the whole time during the murder and that she didn't hear any gunshots, but that she did hear her stepdad's LVAD machine going off. And it's weird that she would hear the LVAD machine, but not the gunshots. Anyway, as of right now, Sarah is in jail waiting on her trial, and if she did do it, I would have to imagine that she got help. Like, her parents didn't even own a gun, so she would have had to have secretly gotten one, used it, and then hid it to where the police couldn't find it. And so in my personal opinion, there is no way she could have done that on her own. But that's just my opinion.